Let's.
Let's.
Let's. Let's.
Let's.
Let's.
Let's
talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk About It. Today we'll give you the latest Pioneer athletic updates as winter sports are coming to an end and spring sports season is approaching. I'm Rebecca Bartlemy.
And I'm Tom Hofer. Here's what's going on in your Pioneer athletics. This past weekend, the Pioneer wrestling team competed in the WIAC conference meet. Freshman Scott Arneson earned the John Peterson Wrestler of the Meet title for his first place finish in the 133-pound weight class. 6 other Pioneers also placed in the meet. Next up for the wrestlers is the NCAA West Regional Meet on February 27th.
This past weekend, the Pioneer track and field team hosted the UW-Platteville Invitational. Some key athletes were sophomore hurdle Dan Arnold, who broke the school record after taking first place in the 60-meter hurdles, and senior pole vaulter Garrett Riggs, who took first place in the pole vault at the meet.
Former Pioneer men's basketball player Rob Stallion is now a student assistant for the basketball team. Let's Talk About It. Stephen Washington sat down with Rob before Wednesday night's game about his transition from playing to coaching and what to expect from the team for the rest of the season.
Today on Let's Talk About It, we have a very special guest, Rob Stallion.
Hey,
how you doing, Rob?
Good. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Long time no see.
I know. We have a few questions for you today.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. One of my first questions is, how do it feel to be a coach now, and playing for Platteville, now coaching Platteville?
It's definitely a transition that was kind of tough to make in the beginning, Steve, because especially my first year as an assistant coach, I had to get out of that player mode. I would show up to practice ready to play against the guys and just ready to go. But then as a coach, I just kind of had to tone it down a little bit, and I had to change how I approached practice and games and things like that. Sometimes I would get in a mode of, here, just give me the ball and let me show you what I want you to do or what you need to be doing, as opposed to being able to communicate that to my players and getting them to see the vision that I have for them on the court and them being able to go out there and execute that. And that's one of the things that I find is most rewarding about coaching, is being able to talk to your players and get them to see the vision that you have for them, or get them to see the instruction that you're trying to give them, and then them going out there and doing it and getting it right, and then having some success because of that. To me, that's one of the best feelings in the world.
That's nice. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my God. Another question. How's the season going so far?
It's okay. We're not doing as well as we would have liked to, but we still got a couple games left. We can still turn it around in the conference tournament, but we need some help. You know what I'm saying? We got to win these next 2 games, and we need some help from some of the other teams in conference to either win or lose. So we just kind of put ourselves in a position that, like, fate isn't necessarily totally in our hands anymore. But we just got to go out there. We have 2 more home games left tonight, and then tonight versus UW Stevens Point, and Saturday versus UW Stout, and we just got to go out there and play our hearts out and get those 2 W's, and then obviously the chips will fall where they may. But like I said, we got to go out there and take care of business, and like I said, we need a lot of help, but not just from other teams in the conference. We need our fans there too. We play a lot better when our fans show up for the games and those sellout crowds. So if all those little Pioneer fans out there are watching this, make sure you're at the game tonight and Saturday night.
Yes, sir. Okay, this is a little fun question. Which one did you like better, playing or coaching?
Obviously, being a player was always my lifelong dream. Ever since I was probably 2 or 3 years old, I could walk and carry that little Fisher-Price basketball and running into the living room from the kitchen with my tongue out and then jumping from as far as I could to dunk the basketball like I was Michael Jordan. That was always my dream. So obviously, like, I think a lot of coaches would tell you, a lot of coaches who used to play basketball would tell you that obviously they enjoyed playing because that was their lifelong dream to be a basketball player. But obviously the ball doesn't bounce for anybody forever. So Kobe, Michael, me, Michael Jordan. So it's just one of those things that you kind of have to switch gears and you have to love to learn something else. And I think that's what I'm doing right now. I'm learning to love coaching. And like I said, I get those feelings come all the time when I'm coaching, when I'm teaching my players or coaching my players and getting them to see the vision I have for them and then having some success. Like I said, it's one of those best feelings in the world.
Thank you. Thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
your time.
Absolutely, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for you today. See you next time on Let's Talk About It.
Let's talk about it.
The men's basketball team did lose Wednesday night to UW-Stevens Point 64-72. Let's talk about it. Gavin Jensen talked to head coach Jeff Gard and senior guard Boston Johnson after the game.
I'm Gavin Jensen here with Coach Jeff Gard after the 62-57 loss. You've got the last 5 games, unfortunately. You've got 1 game left. What is your game plan heading into the tournament for the end of the season?
Well, with tonight's loss, I have to say that eliminated us from postseason play. So what we talked with the guys about, and it's been every game really, is just that finish mentality. It's the stuff that we start out at the beginning of the year. Fall workouts, conditioning, running the hill, those type of things. You just have to finish. Finish what you started and finish things strong. So that's been the message to the team in the locker room after tonight's game is that, Saturday's game, it's about finishing. It's going out, getting a W for the 2 seniors, Boston Johnson and Peyton River, and obviously showing respect for the 2 guys that, have put a lot of sweat, blood, and tear on this campus over the last 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. He's had a couple major games here within the last couple, dropping 30 points, 22 tonight. Who do you look to step up for next season to replace the position of Boston and Peyton?
Well, I think it's really still to be determined. We've got a lot of young guys in the program. Obviously you're going to look at Corey Boston as being one of the leaders on and off the floor. Corey actually next year will be a 5th-year senior because he had a medical redshirt his freshman year. So, he's been around. He's a guy that a lot of the guys will turn to in times both on and off the floor. So, obviously we're going to look to Corey. But before I can look forward, obviously it's really going to be about trying to give a good respect and a good showing for the 2 seniors.
Okay. Well, we wish you good luck for next game. Hopefully finish the season out strong. You kept it close, but like you said, the finishing has been the problem. So we want to wish you good luck, and we'll see you next season.
All right, thank you.
Yep. I'm Gavin Jensen here with senior forward Boston Johnson after a 62-57 loss to Stevens Point. Unfortunately, this takes you out of the tournament, and you've dropped the last couple games here and away. What are you looking to do for this last game, seeing that you be your senior year and you want to finish out strong?
The biggest thing for us is to focus on the next game, which is Stout. So Saturday night is when we have to play, and we want to come out and finish strong.
Okay. Who do you see as being the next kind of leader in this team after you and the other senior graduate? And you and Peyton graduate, taking the reins and then propelling this team forward?
Well, I think the expectation is Matt Ostrek and Corey Boston kind of take the reins and to lead this team to success next year.
Awesome. So, hey, we want to wish you luck for the next game and a hell of a season. And I guess if we are here, we'll talk to you. If not, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The men will wrap up their season this Saturday as they take on UW Stout at 7 at Bo Ryan Court.
The women's basketball team also fell short to UW-Stevens Point Wednesday night, 54-67. Their season will come to an end this Saturday as they travel to Stout to take on the Blue Devils at 3 p.m.
Baseball season is almost here, and the Pioneer baseball team has been hard at work to get ready for a great season. Let's talk about it. Marquise Edmonds sat down with head coach Eric Freeze to talk about the upcoming season.
Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I am Marquise Edmonds with head coach of the Pioneers, Eric Freeze. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So to start off, last year you had a pretty successful season.
You had a record of 14 consecutive wins. How are you going to follow up this year, and what are your expectations on the season this year?
It's a good question. I mean, obviously every year is a little bit different. The one thing we feel good about right now is we have a lot of experience returning. Baseball's a game that will humble you real fast if you don't do everything the right way. And we have a group of guys and a really good leadership group with our seniors who, on a daily basis, make sure things are going well and are doing a real good job of preparation right now.
It's always good to have that leadership. And then you're going into your 9th season. Is there anything differently from like your first season here till now that you do as far as coaching, training, or recruiting?
I think it all changes. It almost changes weekly sometimes. It depends on how things are going, the group of young people you're working with, the experience factor. Some years you're a little bit younger, some years you're older, and that kind of changes. Even right now, we kind of change practice plans up sometimes 10 minutes ahead of time because we feel really good about something that we weren't sure, we might be a little bit behind on. So the guys are doing a great job with that. And as far as the recruiting goes and just, everything, it's evolving with the social media. Even though we're a non-scholarship situation here in Division III, we still have to really, really press the issue with them, and making sure that we stay on top of them and really making them feel like we really want them here to be a Pioneer. And that's one thing that maybe 10, 11 years ago we didn't have to do quite as much as we do nowadays, but it's all part of the game. And if you want to win at a high level, you got to – I know my job's a lot easier and we have good players. I'll put it that way. So,
Yeah, I can understand that. And then for this season, not going too far into the schedule, who do you feel will be the biggest competitor as far as your schedule?
Well, I think our schedule is really very competitive this year. Obviously, once we get into conference play, every single team we play in this league is good enough to be a College World Series contender. So in the game of baseball, it really comes down to throwing strikes, hitting the ball hard, not making mistakes. So, I mean, I think in this game, we're almost our biggest competitor. If you play well, you can beat anybody, but if you don't play well, anybody can beat you on any given day.
I understand. And then we always try to end with a random question. Having different personalities and attitudes on your team, when you go to away games, how do you choose as far as what to or a couple of players room together?
Pretty random, to be honest with you. The one thing we kind of look at when we do that is we try to get them out of their comfort zone a little bit. So we try to, if guys live together, normally we try to split those guys up and maybe, stick a junior with a freshman or somebody that maybe they haven't talked to a whole lot or spent a lot of time with outside of baseball. Just a little team chemistry thing, stuff like that. I don't know if guys like that sometimes, but for the most part, it gives them a chance to, when you have 30-plus guys on your team, there's no way that they're all super, super close. So it's one way for us to kind of get them to spend a little more time together than maybe they ordinarily would stay in their comfort zone.
Yeah, I figured that because, it's always about communication, and then if you're out of your comfort zone, you can communicate better with each other.
No doubt about it, especially some of the younger guys. It's tough when you're a freshman, and everything's new, and sometimes getting to know some of the older guys, they can ask some questions that sometimes they won't ask coaches or other people, and that's kind of the best way to learn in life, through experience. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Coach, for
Pleasure.
coming today. I'm Marquise Gavin. This is Let's Talk About It.
Well, that's all we have for you on this week's episode of Let's Talk About It. I'm Tom Hofer.
And I'm Rebecca Bartlemay. And as always,
We'll see you next time.